had to learn discernment, because I had a lot of people that love my energy, but would soak it up and take it from me, and then leave me once they were good. You know, like I'm on my shit now, and I'm walking away, and then I'm just like slowly diminishing, and you know, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, and then it became to where, okay, I don't have anything left. Like I can't give to anyone until I figure out what I need. And that's when the awareness thing came. It's like, okay, write this down. Like, what do you need? You know, and that's a hard question. A lot of people can't answer that. Like, I don't. They always, I don't know what I need. Like, what do you mean? What do I need?
That's what
and mine was so hard.
And who are you?
Yeah,
that's a hard question.
That's something people praise me, but I'm very self-aware. But it's like, I don't know what I need to be happy. I just know like little things here and there.
Yeah, that's part of the journey. You know, that's part of the journey. I think that, like, I watch a lot of, I guess you would say documentaries or interviews on people who are already kind of a little bit further in their journeys, and they're still dealing with some of these same things on a day-to-day basis, because every day's not going to be the same. Like you might not wake up feeling the way you did yesterday, and it might be a little bit harder for you to get through that day. But I feel like knowing that that's a part of the journey, it makes it a little bit easier. It's like, okay, it's one of those days. Let me deal with this. Let me take 5 minutes. Let me breathe. Okay, maybe I need to meditate a little longer today. Whatever, and just deal, like, face it. I think that's the problem. Like, people don't want to face it. They're just like, I'm good. Fuck that. I'm good. Like, you're not good.
And so my problem is, I think I overface things. Because I tend to like overanalyze or you know, just think all day long, and then I'll say those things out loud, and you know, people need, I won't say the word is protecting, but people prefer soft. And I sometimes have to remind myself that people have been living a whole life, and they've had experiences, and they've been hurt and things like that. And from the people that they see as friends or respect and things like that, that's the kind of energy that they need to receive from you. And because I can be very just like, if I'm thinking something and it's negative or mean or whatever, I will say it, and I will, because I want you to do the same thing to me, but I also handle things differently than other people.
And I think that's where the empathy thing comes in. And it's just like, okay, I have to understand you're not me, and you might not be as far into your journey as I am. And so you have to find a way to almost tell them the exact same thing, but in a way where it's like, I'm giving you a solution also. I'm not just telling you how wrong you are. Like, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. I'm just going to say, possibly think about it in this way.
I gotta work, man. That's something that I gotta work on it.
And I have to work on that more so with my son, because I get sometimes when you say things, it's not them that made you say it. It was something that triggered something you have an issue with. And my son, my son I think about that all the time. Like, I will snap on him sometimes, and it's not because necessarily he did something that bad. It was just, I didn't have the patience to deal with it, or I couldn't answer the question he was asking, and I got frustrated. So it's like, you can't blame someone, you know, for making a mistake, or you can't get upset at someone for making a mistake. You have to deal with, okay, how can I express this in a way where you know that hurt me or that upset me, but I'm not hurting or upsetting you in the same. You know, because now everybody's mad, instead of it just being, hey, I love you, but don't do that again. You know, like, or this isn't what you should be doing. You know, and
or this makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's about it's the way you word things. It's like, okay, everybody has feelings, right? But if you put that to the side, logically, you know, what was it that caused this issue? How can we fix it? Is it even fixable? Okay, let's take the feelings out of it. You know,
I'm good at the logical part.
Yeah.
I feel like we were best friends in the past life.
Possibly.
I found myself today.
Yeah.
The day before yesterday, the day before yesterday, probably last week. I'm always constantly saying, you took it the wrong way. Like, what you heard is not the way that I meant it, or what you like. It's not that way, and so it's very tough. I've recently been told I come across as condescending at times. And so it's tough because when
What's your sign?
I'm a Leo. So when I come across, my thing is that I don't really, like, I tell people things the way I would want to be told.
Exactly.
And because nobody sugarcoats anything with me. They're always just like, oh, you should do this, or you need to do it, or do it this way, or it should be this way. So whenever I'm talking to someone, that's the same manner I talk to them. I don't fuss at people, but I am a harper. And so I'm like, hey, you're like, no, this, and that. And then when somebody takes it as if I'm saying something wrong to them, or if I'm coming across a certain way and I can tell they shift.
You blame them for that.
No, well, what it is that when they shell up, I always tell people it's not about what I said, it's about how you view me, because if you know me, you would know that the information that I'm trying to give you isn't coming from a place of me thinking I'm better than you or whatever, because I don't know shit. We're all learning every day.
Right.
So when we come across that way, it's tough. Like when you're somebody that you just say it. It just comes from here, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I probably should have tailored that more for the audience that I'm speaking to at this time. But a lot of times when you come across that way, it's very tough to for some other people to understand your method of communicating when it's like, it's coming from a place of love. If I don't care about you, I'm not going to talk to you, period.
Right.
So if I'm telling you something, it's because I care or because I love you. I have, there's an affinity there for you that I'm just like, hey, this could be vital for you. But once someone shuts off for me or whatever, I get offended by that. And so then I'm just like, all right, cool. I'll just back away because I don't like to feel like I'm in a space where I feel tolerated. And once I feel tolerated, I shut down. I'm like, all right, I'm done. And I can see why, I always acknowledge, I can see why you feel I may have come across condescending. I get that, but that's not what I meant by that. Let me explain. Right. Which, that still turns into an argument too.
It
It just never.
And communication, I think, is one of the hardest things for human beings to deal with. Like, nobody knows truly how to communicate with each other, and that, like I said, always comes back to self-awareness and knowledge, and you as your energy and your spirituality and all of those things, because you either have to learn when to just cut it off because the communication is just never going to happen, or you have to learn how to see things from other people's point of views. And that's hard to do because that person might not see it from your, and you're actually trying to work it out, and they don't want to work it out because they're not trying. And so it's like that's why there's always war, and that's why there's always beef or whatever, because nobody wants to hear the next person out, and everybody gets in their feelings instead of logically, okay, it really wasn't that big of a deal, And I think also tone, your tone of voice, and if you can sit back and actually debate with someone without having to scream and yell, and that keeps the respect there. Because I feel like I can't respect you if you're all in my face and spitting and hollering. I would respect you sitting next to me and saying, I didn't like this and I didn't like that, and pointing it out and telling me why. And then I'm like, okay, now we can go back and forth about it. Now I can say, well, this is how I feel about it, And I think therapy too is a big deal. Like, a lot of people don't want to do therapy because they're like, especially Black people, like, we don't like going to the doctor. We don't like having some person tell us how we feel and what we think, but it's good to just get it out. Like, even in this situation right here, if somebody's truly going through something, answering questions like this is going to make them
I go to therapy.
You have to deal with it at that point.
It's been a little while. But I love therapy. And so that's why I was like, I wanted to do this. And I was like, Warren is like, he's his own therapy page for people, like, in my opinion. And so I was like, Warren, will you do this with me, please? And so I feel like I want to create a safe space for Black people to do this, to release those things, to have those conversations. And I feel like, I don't know, I have to do more work, because you were here with all this stuff that I want to talk about, like therapy, and I didn't find my segue into addressing them. Therapy, everything that you just said was
but this is this is the beginning. This is like where you kind of, the trial and error, where you kind of figure out, okay, I can grow from here. What do I need to do better next time, or whatever. So you gotta I'm proud of you for just jumping out there and starting, because that's all. I mean, I tell people that all the time. Like my sister right now, it's as simple as I want her to quit her job. I can't tell her to quit her job because I can't help her with those finances or anything. But I see the talent and I see the drive, and I also see that her job is holding her back. And I tell her all the time, like, being an entrepreneur or being a creative, you kind of just have to just do it. There's no like preparing. Because you're going to be preparing for forever.
And see, like, I'm still like,
never going to be right.
I need to send and I need to do this, and he's like, just do it. Just
get in the room and do it. If it sucks, cool. Next time. You know, it is what it is. Like, I got stuff on YouTube right now that, oh my God, I hope nobody ever finds.
I watch old videos of myself all the time. Just like, But I'll say this. That was probably some of my more creative content. When you become good at what you do, you're even more critical because you're just like, oh no, everything has to be perfect. And then I grew up where, I grew up being compared to other people's children, which stemmed into my adulthood, where I always constantly compared myself to where my associates were in their life. If they're like during graduation season, I would get super depressed because I'd be like, oh man, I got friends graduating, they get their bachelor's, master's, doctorate. I'm just like, I'm going to work for the state now, making $33,000 a year. So that's wonderful, and it can, it gets kind of tough. And then when you get into a creative realm, I want to learn everything quick. So like people think I've been doing photography and videography forever, and I'm just like, no, I've only been doing 1.5 years, but when I like something, I study it, I look at it out, everything is about that, and I look for resources beyond that. But I was one of those people. It was like, oh, it has to be perfect before I put it out. It needs to be perfect. And then I watched Gary Vee, and Gary Vee he said the people that win are the people that put out content, not perfect content. They just put out content. And he was like, just put it out. He said, and then go perfect it.
While you're sitting there thinking about it, somebody's already dropped it.
Blueface has a record deal. He's getting millions of dollars.
And you missed it. Like, I hear songs every day that I'm like, it pisses me off because I'm like, I literally just thought about that sample, or I literally just had a line that sounded exactly like that, or a hook that sounded exactly, because there's a lot. I mean, we're all connected, and I think nobody ever wants to hear that because it's like so beyond them. But we're all connected to the point where, we're individual, but a lot of us think the exact same thing, sometimes at the exact same moment. And I could be writing a song, and some chick will drop a song the next day that sounds exactly like the song I was thinking of the night before. But because I didn't jump on something, or I didn't, pursue it, or I felt like I was scared, or I had, doubts about it, now this person has completely... now you
have to go do something.
Now I have to change it up. So it's like, if I would have just went for it,
and that could have been your energy.
And it's like, who cares? Like, there's people out here, especially now, like they're profiting off of literally nothing. And it's like, okay, what makes me feel like I'm any less than that? Like, there's children doing this stuff, and they're just getting out there. And I think that's, life kind of, it makes you feel like you have to be perfect. Because when you're a kid, you just kind of let loose. Like, I used to get on stage all the time, even if it sucked. I don't know. I'm a kid. In my mind, I did great.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, you're constantly hearing like, this isn't right. That's whack, or this isn't right, or you should do this and you should do that. And then you just start like following what you've been told. And that can go as deep as just following religion just because your grandparents took you to church every day, or every weekend, and you don't really believe it, but it's like, this is all I know, this is what I'm supposed to be, I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and you kind of just fall into it. And then I hear that all the time from people, like in their careers, they're like, oh, I went to college for this, but I just fell into this job.
True.
And see, and it's funny because you say the thing about kids and how carefree you are as kids, or just the things that we lose our sense of discovery sometimes.
Imagination.
Because one of the people that I learned videography from was a 15-year-old kid on YouTube. Like, I literally I'm sitting here watching this 15-year-old tutorials on YouTube. I'm like, I'm literally a grown man watching it. I'm being taught by kids.
Because fear is taught.
Yeah.
You don't, you're not born with fear. Like, you could throw a baby in the water and they're just going to do what the hell they have to do to try to get out.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like they're scared necessarily. Like, I threw my son in the water and he kind of just like, boop, 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 and I had to get him back up. But he didn't realize that was a scary thing because he didn't know he was going to drown. So it's like, once you're aware of those things, now you're scared. Like, oh shit, I might not, I might not make it, or people might not like it, or, and you.
That's where confidence comes into play.
Yeah.
You have to be. You have to be at one with you.
That taught fear is something very serious too, and that was something that made me take forever to even get started with anything that I did. And I think that also kind of lends to the perfectionist in us. That is that. Oh well, we don't want anybody to critique it.
Right.
I remember the first time I got a dislike on YouTube. I still remember because it was like, oh, none of my videos had dislikes, and I uploaded this video, and it was about Tina Knowles and her husband, and when everybody thought she emasculated him. And I remember people were going back and forth with me on YouTube, and I'm like, yo, I don't want these people to dislike me. So I'm like, should I delete this video? It bothered me for days, and I'm like, yo, it's just one video. Like all of them are fine, but we only care about the ones that people don't like. Right. It's like you can have millions of things people like, and that one thing that people dislike is the one
now
that
it's on
you.
your mind. And,
you're like, well, should I tailor it? Should I do this one? So I never did another video like that. It took me a long. I just stopped making videos. I was like, all right, cool. They don't like this, and
it's if we get to a point where we want to just be accepted, and there's so many people in this world. There's no way you're going to be accepted by everyone. It's impossible. I don't like Beyonce as a singer, I guess you could say. I feel like she's probably a great person. I've never met her, but I don't choose to listen to her music. Yeah. And people will judge me on that. Like, what? You don't listen to me? But everybody has their thing. I'm going to be enforced,
but I'm going to let you be now.
There are songs that I enjoy, yes, but they're usually the ones that don't end up on the radio.
Yeah. I'm the same way with artists.
And when I tell people like my favorite artist is Brandy, a lot of people get confused on that. Like, she never did this and she never did, based on what you think. She did exactly what she wanted to do. And
Full Moon was it.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You can't say I try to let people say what they want to say and not judge, but you got me messed up when it comes to Brandy.
Yeah. And it was funny that you
put her in any room with anybody. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
I'm gonna get her.
When you say Beyonce, when you were talking about people can just make anything or whatever, and then the first thing that popped in my head is me and my friend have this running joke where we just walk around and say 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven, seven twice, man, seven twice. That song is about absolutely
nothing.
But it worked. I mean, it worked for me. And I was just like, so this is like you say. Nowadays it's just like I'll just do stuff and I'll put it out, and the people like they love it. They either love it or they don't. But you just get consistent with putting the content, and it's helped me actually get better just putting out more and more content. So it's
because you get over the fear of it too. I like watching Will Smith a lot because he does, he talks about that kind of stuff a lot. He does a lot of random things, jumping out of planes, and
I envy that dude.
Man,
he just came on Instagram and just started killing it. I was like,
man,
you got a whole film team following you around.
There's people really working on this stuff. You just say hi one day and everybody's like, do. Like,
I was like, where did he come from? They in the water, scuba diving, skydiving. I'm like, we ain't got this kind of bread, Will. Like, slow it down, do some regular stuff.
I can't keep up, dude. I can't keep up. I don't even try to. But yeah, I think loving yourself is a major issue. All that stuff comes down to that, I think. Like, fear and all that stuff, it's just like, you gotta love yourself first and not care if anybody else does. Shit, there's people on YouTube with one like.
This is very true.
And it's
and they put video at the video.
Only got 50 followers. They're just shit. I'm dropping it. Because you never know, that next follower or that next person might be the one to be like, I believe in this person. And
that's so true.
All those people who didn't believe in you now are gonna have to face that because now you're gonna be in their face.
That song, No Support. I don't know what his name is.
That's YB.
Yeah, YB something.
YB and Corday.
Puerto Rico.
Is
that in Puerto Rico?
Yeah,
that song, Mills by Mel, I don't know why I always call her that. Her name is Melissa, but I call her business name. But she played that one day, and I just was like, I play that song every day now. It's like, because I don't really listen to rap music either, except Meg Thee Stallion.
That's a pretty passionate song.
That song, yeah, and I felt it so much to the core. It's like,
and you have to get to a point where you're completely broken and you feel like nobody cares, nobody's there for you, nobody's going to fix anything. And that's when you get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm going to fix it myself, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Or you completely fall and you just stay stuck like that. So it's like you have to just deal with it,
For sure. I was in a place like that for a long time. For a very long time. But I've never been fearful. Mm-hmm. I will do all the things. Mm-hmm. Well, let me rephrase that.
You said all the
I've never been fearful when it comes to doing. Like, I'll go out and do it, but like, I'll be judging it and like, oh, this is wrong. But I'm gonna still commit. You know what I'm saying? I joined the military at 17 years old. Let me tell you a story of me not being fearful and committing. I was in the back of my friend's truck, associate's truck, and it was like 4 of us, and he stopped or something, and I'm from Gary, Indiana, so there's like drug dealers on every corner. But the drug dealer comes up to the car, and I know who he is, but that's irrelevant. He comes up to the car talking to my friend, and he said something that I didn't like, and I said something back, and then he said something to me, and then I spit in his face. And he grabbed, and I used to wear these 2 big ponytails. He grabbed me by the ponytail and put a gun to the side of my head, and I told him, well, you're just gonna have to commit because I'm not gonna shut the fuck up. And so that was a story of me not being fearful.
Jumped on in there.
But I've never really been.
I'm the only one that has a stupid story like
I've
that.
got a lot of stupid stories.
Yeah, I've literally had a story like that before.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, okay, you got to get in my head. And I'm just going to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm not alone.
So that's
the thing.
No.
Yeah.
I think too, and when your adrenaline is pumping like that too, it's just like, you know what? Either I'm going to die or I'm going to just go out like a G. So it's not just going to take me like that.
Yeah, in real life.
But if I do die, at least I have a story to tell.
Right?
Damn it.
This dumb bitch.
Yeah, it's like,
Can you believe she? Rest in peace.
Can you believe? Hey, now you're going to be talked about forever. So it's like, hey, I still had a
made my
mark.
mark.
I still made my mark.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Put it on the t-shirt.
Yeah, right?
I'm down.
That's
Yeah. My fear has always been of other people. I've always been very enclosed by myself because I grew up in a family household like yours. But I knew that I needed the attention and love and affection, and I didn't receive it as well, maybe I did. I'll do it myself, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. I don't need you. I'm smarter than y'all anyway, things like that. But at the end of the day, it ended up turning me very, for the longest time, people would love my energy, but then I start talking. Because I would make people feel like I thought I was better than them or something. And in that time frame, I didn't even think I deserved to walk the earth. Like, I would give all my energy to everybody else and making sure their goals were accomplished because I didn't feel worth anything. Right. So it was very weird.
And your words became a reflection of that. That's all that was. Because I did the same thing. Like, I just had somebody have to tell me to my face, like, you are negative, you're hurt. And I'm like, I'm not hurt. I dealt like that. But then when I got home, I cried about it.
Exactly.
And it was like,
that was the thing.
Maybe I am fucking negative and hurt. Like, maybe I am. Like, and you don't even realize you're doing it because it becomes a habit. And like they say, it takes however many days to break that. So if you push yourself for those 21 days to, okay, each day I'm going to practice not saying this, or each day I'm going to compliment somebody, or each day I'm going to say I'm proud of you, or each day I'm going to say I love you. And that becomes a habit. And then you start... Now when you hear those
breaking
other words,
you're
like, ooh, I don't even want to be around somebody that speaks like that.
Yes.
Even though you used to be that person, but it's like your frequency has changed and now you can't be around those people unless you're helping them progress or they want to progress. But I did the same thing. I would like, every time my friends got something or accomplished something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Oh no,
like,
I was never like that.
It's not a big deal. Like, I was like that on the inside. Like, I might be like, oh, that's great. But on the inside, I was like... whatever, and then I just like started
realizing.
I think I even picked up like certain mannerisms of like kind of like